welcome back to Blue Harvest Toys. Today's video is going to be part 1 of this vintage Star Wars Palitoy cardbacks. But before we get into the original Star Wars cards, I just want to tell you about the Palitoy story. Palitoy was a popular British toy company. Along with Star Wars, they produced some great toys, including Action Man, Action Force, Tiny Tears, Mainland Railways, Play-Doh and Care Bears. Originally formed as a Castleloy company in 1919, Palitoy initially specialised in the production of celluloid and fancy goods from their factory in Colville, Leicestershire. In 1931, British Xylonite purchased Castleloid from Alfred Edward Pallet, and out of respect they named the new toy division Palitoy, Pallet Toy, after him in 1935. Injection moulding was developed by British Xylonite in 1941 and was used across the Palitoy toy lines. The large US food company General Mills purchased Palitoy in 1968 and it merged into the company's toy division known as CPG Products Group, Creative Products Group Products Corp. Over the years there were a number of other brands purchased including Chad Valley, Denny Fisher, FX and Meccano. Kenner, another CPG Products Group company, acquired the licensed rights to produce toys for the new 1977 movie Star Wars. However, they were not prepared for the popularity of the movie or the enormous demand that it would follow. Palitoy acquired the sub-license to produce Star Wars toys in the UK market. Their hugely popular Action Man line had resulted in some major expansion work in the Colville factory, and by 1978 they employed around 1,000 people, with annual sales of over £20 million. The desire to keep costs down resulted in Palitoy sourcing many components from Asia via the Palitoy Far East division. They streamlined the production methods and outsourced a lot of manufacturing to factories in Hong Kong. This led to major job losses at Palitoy in both 1980 and 1982, at the height of their Star Wars toy success. By 1984, the number of mergers had created a need for streamlining, resulting in Palitoy having their design department closed, leaving them with a purely sales and marketing company. Sadly, the cuts didn't end there. In 1985, General Mills announced that it would be quitting the toy industry. The toy businesses were split into 3 distinct companies: Kenner, focusing on toys, Parker Brothers, focusing on games, and Fun Dimensions, focusing on crafts, NPC model kits, and Lionel model trains. General Mills made a further decision to merge Kenner and Parker into one company and to sell off Fun Dimensions. This resulted in Palitoy withdrawing from the craft and model sectors and adopting the Kenner-Parker name. On 1st of May 1985, most of the work at the Palitoy ended, with 327 out of 585 staff in manufacturing and distribution being made redundant, and manufacturing shifting overseas. In 1987, Tonka purchased Kenner Parker, however Tonka then had difficulties itself and had to find a buyer. It was eventually acquired by Hasbro in 1991, Hasbro finally closing the Colville site in 1994. Palitoy were very proactive when it came for marketing the products. Along with the typical toy-based print and TV advertising, they commissioned comic book artists such as Brian Bolland and Frank Langford to create a number of comic strips adverts to entice the young readers. They began appearing in British publications from 1979, featuring Palitoy's Cantina, Droid Factory and the Land of the Jawas playset. They went on to create many more strips featuring action figures or vehicles. With the release of The Empire Strikes Back in 1980, Palitoy moved away from the comic strip approach and focused more on specific competitions and mail-away characters. These adverts incorporated exciting illustrations and enticing calls to action. This approach continued with characters from Return of the Jedi in 1983, however the advertising became more colourful. TV ads were very important to Palitoy. They sought the attention and stimulated the imagination of the young viewers. For Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back toys, they focused solely on recreating scenes from the movies, building suspense through questioning, and ending with the "only you can decide" call to action. But the Return of the Jedi ads began with a short clip of movie footage, then described key features of the vehicle and playset, while recreating the scene with the toys. These also continue to use "only you can decide" as a call to action. Palitoy produced action figures for the UK market from 1978 to 1985. During these years, the packaging was redesigned multiple times to reflect the appropriate movie, figure releases, or special mail-away offers. The images show the progression across the 14 distinct card front designs which were released over this period. It's interesting to note the lack of consistency on the size of the Palitoy logo and on the positioning of the movie title. Palitoy figures can be found with a whole range of different bubbles, each with their own distinct features. For the first few years, Palitoy uniformly used a single stem bubble with a footer across the full line of figures, available in several sizes to ensure a snug fit for the action figure. From 1981, they start to use a whole range of different bubbles, differing styles and appearance, the uses of which can sometimes seem quite random. The single stem numbered bubbles were made with certain figures in mind, so a particular figure when in a certain number bubble, the rectangle and double stem bubbles were available in several different sizes to accommodate the majority of the figures. Figure-specific bubbles were created for certain characters, particularly those with the removable helmets or long accessories. The final bubble to be used was the Tri logo, widely seen on Tri logo cards, but actually making its debut on the 45C cardback in 1983. This was clearly the cheapest bubble manufactured by Palitoy, and it's essentially a one-size-fits-all. However, they did make a very small version for the Ewoks and R2-D2, and an extra large version for the Gamorrean Guard. So the first bubble is a single stem with rounded corners, and was on the Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back cards on 12A, B, C, 20, 30A, 30B, 41A, B and C, and the 45A cards. Number 2 is a single stem and rounded corners on the Empire Strikes Back card, 45A, B and C. Bubble number 3 is a rectangle with rounded corners on Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, 45A, 45C, 65A, B, C and D. Next we have a double stem with rounded corners on Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, 45B, 45C, 65A, B and C. Next we have a tri-logo with square corners on a Return of the Jedi and tri-logo cards. And there are 3 variations of the tri-logo bubble, each with distinct edge differences. We have the rounded 45C, 65B, C, D, 70B. We have the long etched, which was 70A, B, C and D, and the short etched 70B, C and D. The figure specific bubble was Leia Organa, Bush Disguise, rounded corners on a Return of the Jedi, 65A, B and C, and the Lando Calrissian Skiff Guard Disguise with rounded corners on the Return of the Jedi, 65A, B and C. Know your bubble seals! First up we've got a waffle seal, a waffling pattern produced by the bubble sealing machine, only found on figures packaged in the Far East. A slick seal, a small seal found on UK packaged figures. A double stem gap, 2 unsealed gaps in the lower seal. When the double stem press was used for rectangle bubbles, certain UK sealed figures only, and the unsealed circle area. An unsealed circle area at the top of the left of the bubble seal, certain UK sealed figures only. So onto the card backs themselves now. On the card front of the 12A, B and C, the front of the 12 back card has the Star Wars logo and is similar to the Kenner card from the USA, with 2 differences. The white pricing square in the top left corner is absent on the Palitoy card, and the Kenner logo is replaced with a colourful red and blue Palitoy logo. The reverse of the card shows the first 12 figures released on the Star Wars line, along with the TIE Fighter, X-Wing Fighter and Land Speeder vehicles. The text on the X-Wing Fighter incorrectly states that it features laser light and sound. Below the figures are instructions for operating the double telescoping lightsaber. However, none of these have been found to exist on Palitoy cards. This card variation was manufactured in Hong Kong at the Cader Industries factory and then shipped back assembled to the Colville factory in the UK. The debut figures on this were Luke Skywalker, blonde hair, Princessleia Organa, R2-D2, Chewbacca, C-3PO, Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi, white hair, Han Solo small head, Han Solo large head, Tusken Raider, some people, and Death Squad Commander. The Palitoy logo was 53mm wide and it was released in 1978. The 12B card back, the reverse of the 12A card, was amended with the laser light and sound references were removed, as the Palitoy version of the X-Wing never had these features to lower production costs. The original text is faintly visible despite it being blacked out. The text removal was done during the printing process rather than with a black pen, which is common on the later Return of the Jedi card variations. This card variation was again manufactured in Hong Kong at the Cader Industries factory and then shipped back assembled to the Colville factory in the UK. The W figures on this were Jawa Final Cape and Jawa Cloth Cape. 12C card back, the reverse of the 12B card, was amended to clarify the figures were scaled to fit the large size non-diecast Star Wars space vehicles. Previously the card had only referred to the figures being scaled to fit inside Star Wars space vehicles. This was a move by Palitoy to ensure customers they didn't mistakenly purchase the wrong scaled vehicles. This text corrected had not been found on any Kenner cards. This card variation was manufactured in Hong Kong at the Cader Industries factory and then shipped back to assembled to the Colville factory in the UK. There were no W figures on this card. On to the card front for the 20 back. The front of the 20 back card is similar to that of the 12 back cards, but the only one difference, the Palitoy logo is now smaller than the one on the 12 back cards, with the size of 41mm. And this was released in 1979. The reverse of the card shows the 20 available figures, the first 12 plus the 8 new figures. The call to action encourages you to collect all 20. The top half of the card features a cardboard Palitoy Death Star playset. This card variation was manufactured in Hong Kong in the Cader Industries factory and shipped back, assembled, to the Colville factory in the UK. The debut figures on this were Greedo, Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, Walrus Man, Lukeskywalker X-Wing pilot, R5-D4, Death Star droid and the Power droid. So that's it for part 1 of the Palitoy card backs. Please like and subscribe so you'll be the first to know when part 2 goes live. Thank you for watching. Until the next time, may the toys be with you.
Hello, yes, it's me. I just want to tell you about my new merch in my merch store. Something on the lines of this that is available now. So please check it out.